Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about J.K. Rowling, this famous writer and creator of the Harry Potter series and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This great big icon in the entertainment industry has recently got into some drama. We've known J.K. for a few years now. We've covered her in a couple videos because she's been known to get woke and really progressive and pro-leftist all over the place. She's even gone so far as to rewrite and reconfigure the characters in her previous stories, saying that certain ones happen to be alphabet, but we just didn't know it this whole time. There's been a lot of rewrites and things like this. There was even a forced in gay relationship when she did Fantastic Beasts. There was like this implication that Dumbledore and the new villain were like an item or something like that. She's done a lot of woke stuff with her presence recently. In her movies, retroactively changing her old stories, and also constantly posting on Twitter. And come to find out recently, this came back to bite her because, as we all know, the leftists tend to turn on each other pretty hardcore. And if you step out of line or say the wrong thing even once, they'll all cancel you, even though you've been on their side for a very long time. That's what's happening to JK this week. She said a few unfortunate things. Well, unfortunate for her, but truth be told, she was just spitting facts and telling the truth. We're going to get to those comments and this whole story soon, so be ready for a great one. But before we get to that, let's quickly check out our sponsor. Guys, did you know that after age 20, people produce 12% less collagen in their skin each decade? And for some, it can be an even greater decline. And collagen, of course, is a really healthy, really good aspect to your lives. So getting it into your system is more important now than ever, especially with these other health scares going on in the nation. That's why I suggest you get this top-graded, amazing collagen product from healthwithnobs.com. Brought to you by BioTrust, you can now get up to 50% off while supplies last. This collagen is perfect and it's a high quality protein source that you just need to add water to. Or you can mix it into your drinks like coffee, tea, soda, or whatever. It can go great with anything, and it has pretty much zero taste or odor. It also contains all 5 essential types of collagen, which will really make you healthy and show you guys great results in your lives. I recommend using collagen. I use it myself, and the only one I trust is BioTrust, and it's available at healthwithnobs.com. This is really exciting, and I'm happy to offer it to you guys, and I hope you'll check it out. Healthwithnobs.com is going to be a great deal for you too. 51% off and only for the NoBS audience. You guys better check it out today and make sure you have a great day and stay healthy and safe. Great, and remember, visiting Health with No BS is not only good for you and your health and your family, but it also helps support this channel. So that kind of stuff is what keeps us going. Now back to the show. J.K. Rowling is in a bit of trouble, as we mentioned, and what basically happened was she said something about trans people that became un-PC. It's really hard to kind of tiptoe around these kinds of alphabet groups. You can't say the wrong pronoun. You can't label them the wrong this or that. It's very much like going through a minefield. And unfortunately, yes, J.K. Rowling stepped on a mine. She got herself exploded, possibly losing a leg. I don't know if she's going to even be able to come back. Obviously, she's already super well established. She's rich. She doesn't have a lot to worry about. She could quit and retire tomorrow and still have millions of dollars. And not to mention, she's still got her Fantastic Beasts movie series that's going, albeit that's not nearly as popular as Harry Potter was previously in the 2000s. But regardless, J.K. Rowling, they're trying to cancel her. That's what's going down. We're going to talk about what they said and why it wasn't really that big a deal, like not that big a deal at all. It was just a common thing that most of us have addressed many times before. So for more details, this article is called J.K. Rowling Accused of Making Anti-Trans Comments on Twitter. Okay, let's see what they said. Author J.K. Rowling was accused of making anti-trans comments on Twitter over the weekend, just 6 months after she came under fire for her support of a researcher who lost her job due to her transphobic tweets. The writer took issue with the wording of a headline for an opinion article which read, "Opinion Creating a More Equal Post-COVID World for People Who Menstruate." The article was written for Devix, a media platform for the global development community, according to its website. People who menstruate? I'm sure there used to be a word for those people, Rowling tweeted Saturday evening. Someone help me out. Wumben? Wimpund? Woomund? And obviously she's making a joke here. We've got the statement and the response. And yeah, she's saying it's women. That's people that menstruate are women. That's just the key factor. One of the key factors to being a girl is, having those certain parts. Guys have these parts. Guys could do certain things. Women could do certain things like give birth, things like that. There's differences, and you're born a certain way. And aside from very rare instances where there's some kind of, cross or different chromosomes or defects or something, besides like that very negligible small percentage, yeah, people are born male and female, and this is what's getting JK in trouble. This simple kind of fact. It's not really a hardcore statement. It's kind of common. If someone said this just 5 or maybe 10 years ago, no one would have thought twice about it. But clearly we're in a PC world right now. Clearly we're in a brave new world, I would say, maybe, or 1984 kind of world where, speech is really, really strict. You got to be PC, especially in entertainment. That's another thing, like keeping in mind, J.K. Rowling. She's this big writer. She's also become a film producer and film writer. She's working in the industry, and this is what demands of them. They have to be right along, lock and step with these leftist ideologies. Even saying the one thing is what's going to be her downfall. And it just goes to show how messed up this group is and why it's not even worth trying to pander to them, because one day they're just going to turn on you too. Twitter users swiftly criticized the tweet for appearing to define a woman as a person who has a menstrual period and equivocating one's sex or sex organs with gender identity. Her followers pointed out that many people who identify as women, such as transgender women and women who have gone through menopause, may not get their periods, while some people who do not identify as women may still menstruate, such as a transgender men and some who identify as non-binary. Wow, there's just so much going on there. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of options, but again, we're getting into this thing where it's like we're in these negligible percentages. It's like, yeah, there's a guy who happens to have both parts or something in Sweden, like a random person, but that doesn't mean we just can't say women are a thing and men are a thing because of all these little outliers. And sure, there might be a larger, more presenting appearance. It seems like there's a lot of trans people nowadays and a lot of these kinds of alphabets and these kinds of alphabets, but even those, like, even if you bump up to just like a general alphabet people, they're only a couple percentage, their whole group, all the alphabets put together. If you split them up, I mean, transgender is like a small fraction that, I mean, it's worth mentioning. People could talk about it, but it's kind of like nauseating and over the top, the fact that they want to shove that out there so much, and they want to act like they're 10, 20, 30, 40% of the population, when really they're like 1 or something. I don't even know. Like, let's check that real quick. Okay, right here, right? Real easy to find. 0.6% of the population identify as transgender. So this is the population that's trying to get so much attention, so much face time, so much importance. Like, they want to change the definition of women just because of a 0.6% chance that the woman could be trans. And that's what we're talking about here. And that's the kind of facts that, people like J.K. Rowling, even a leftist, can recognize, and she's trying to speak out because she's a woman and she can see that she's losing her identity. She's losing who she is because she was trying to be this feminist one, and I'm sure she had good reason to. Like, way back in the day, there was more reasons to fight for things for women, for equality. But nowadays things are equal, and nowadays they're actually losing a little bit of clout, and that's what I think. That's the reason that J.K. Rowling is coming up here. She's realizing like women are basically getting sidetracked. I know you know this because you have been told over and over and over again, but transgender men can menstruate, tweeted user Aline. Non-binary people menstruate. I, a 37-year-old woman with a uterus, have not menstruated in a decade. Women are not defined by their periods. Okay, this is again listing out like these outliers, like the greater majority of women menstruate. That's the point. Even if they stop after menopause when they get older, they did when they were younger. Even if they have an issue or something came up with their birth control or whichever it may be, they're the outliers. And it's not, I understand, like, no, I don't think anyone's denying that, but it still doesn't really change the definition of woman. And it doesn't mean we can't like let everyone be a woman now. It's basically like everyone who says it is a woman, and like J.K. Rowling is just basically softly trying to say, no, I mean, women menstruate. I don't know why we have to be so vague about this. What happens when women enter menopause? What about women who had hysterectomies, who don't menstruate because of hormonal issues? Are they not women? Use your coherent states, fire back. Nothing you say stops trans women from being women. Okay, I don't think that's the point. I don't think she's trying to stop other groups. I know I'm sounding like I'm pretty much defending JK now, and she's not really someone we're a big fan of. Like I said before, she's been kind of the worst. But this statement and what's going on here, this battle, is something, we can get behind. We understand the facts, and they keep listing out all these outliers like I'm mentioning, but it doesn't change the fact that there's still a greater majority, and this is what we call women, and then this is what we call men, and they're just trying to kind of play these word games. And I guess I could think of another example. Let's say baseball players tend to be dudes. If you say baseball players are dudes, and it's like, well, no, women play here, women play there, women play here. There's this person that plays, there's a kid that plays, there's a basketball trained dog who's now learned baseball. Airbud plays baseball too. But still, it's like you're still saying baseballers are guys. Like if you look at the MLB, if you look at the games out there, aside from like high school and younger peewee leagues, like the majority is dudes. I know this isn't a perfect comparison, but it's just trying to show you how they point out all these outliers, and they're trying to point out this case and this case, and there's this one case. And it doesn't really change the main point about women. Rowling posted additional series of tweets Saturday night trying to defend and explain her earlier now viral statement. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. Rowling tweeted, the idea that women like me who've been empathetic to trans people for decades feel kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e., to male violence, hate trans people because you think sex is real and has lived consequences is nonsense. Okay, so a lot of backpedaling and trying to get back in on their side. I think if it was me, I would have gave up. You can't win with this kind of people. So yeah, this is just lose-lose for JK. She chose the wrong horse in this race. She's kind of getting the backlash that had been long time coming, and it's just, they're going after someone popular. That's the thing too. Like J.K. Rowling is still, even though Harry Potter has been kind of over for a long time, they have Fantastic Beasts, but those aren't as popular at all. But still, I think making money. Still, they're finishing their series. I think it's like a 4-part series or something. They did 2 movies. Anyway, JK is still a big name, one of the most famous people in Britain. And that's why they're going to come after her and be so strict on her. And you want to feel sorry for them, but like we said before, they kind of dug their own graves. They kind of lined with this group that we've known to be toxic. We've known to be very negative and very unforgiving. This is just what happens when you play with this kind of fire. They lost control of the fire and it burnt them. This fire just blazed up JK this weekend. She's probably going to be hearing about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I wouldn't wish that upon her or anyone. Like, I don't think this is a big infraction in any case. Like, even if she is wrong, she's just trying to defend her group and talk about truth, like talk about women, and women are this. And the last thing I just don't get is like there's the whole trans thing coming after these regular women. And I know that's kind of controversial thing to say, but it's like, well, why do you designate yourself as trans if you're trying to transition into a woman? Like, can't you just finish that and like be a woman? Like, do you have to keep singling yourself out, like to give yourself that special treatment? Because I feel like that's what I see a lot of people doing now, where it's like they're not genuinely trying to turn over to a woman, because then you would just transition and then it's over and you're a woman and you don't have to keep pointing out the fact that you were trans. But I guess this trans thing isn't really like a proper transitional phase. Like, it's like a thing that they just always will be trans and they want to hold that title. And I think it makes a lot of sense that they do that, because a lot of people are going for that title to get the attention, the special treatment, and they want to be, able to boss people around like JK. It comes back to this Rowling story where they're just, they're trying to speak out. They're trying to, they might have these good goals at the bottom, at the core, but they've lost their way. They've become these ideologues. That's the other thing. There's really, really strict ideologues. It's like a religion, really. And that's the way it gets really kind of creepy here and got kind of over the top, because we're not talking about a regular peaceful kind of positive religion that could take it or leave it. We're talking about like a cult like religion. We're talking about like people worshiping these false idols and kind of doing and acting out however they feel. and they get so emotional and so invested that things happen like this. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you check out the comment section and tell us what you think about JK and this cancellation. Also, hit that like button to help get this video shared. And until next time, you guys have a great day.